Shalom, brothers and sisters in Yahweh, and welcome to our midweek Bible study. This week, we're going to continue our adventure through Wayyiqra, which is Leviticus. And we will be on chapters 24 and 25. So go ahead and grab your Bibles, and we'll get started this evening. Hope your week has started out well and everything is doing good for you. Alright, gang. Everybody settled in? Good. Alright, let's start on Wayyiqra, which is Leviticus, chapter 24. This is about profaning the name of Yahweh. Okay? And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Command the children of Israel that they bring to you clear oil of pressed olives for the light, to make the lamp burn continually. Outside the veil of the witness in the tent of appointment, Aaron is to arrange it from evening until morning before Yahweh continually, a law forever, throughout your generations. He is to arrange the lamps on the clean gold lampstand before Yahweh continually. And you shall take fine flour, and bake 12 cakes with it, 2/10 of an ephah in each cake. And you shall set them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the clean table before Yahweh. And you shall put clear frankincense on each row, and it shall be on the bread as a remembrance portion, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. On every Sabbath he is to arrange it before Yahweh continually from the children of Israel, an everlasting covenant. And it shall be for Aaron and his sons, and they shall eat it in the set-apart place, because it is most set apart to him from the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, an everlasting law." Now he said that over and over and over, so he's kind of foot stomping that this is an everlasting law. The only problem is we don't have a temple. And our high priest is Yehoshua. So I don't think that because we have a temple that we need to worry about this. Now, if they ever build a temple again, they're probably going to start doing this kind of thing. And until they desecrate the third temple, we're probably supposed to observe it. Okay? But for right now, because we don't have a temple, Yehoshua is our high priest, I really don't see where this has any reason to be done for right now. Alright, let's go ahead and get going here. Verse 10. "And the son of a Israeli woman, whose father was a Mitzrayim man, went out among the children of Israel, and the Israeli woman's son and a man of Israel strove in the camp." So a Hebrew woman had married an Egyptian man, and their son went for a stroll around the camp. "And the Israeli woman's son blasphemed the name and cursed. So they brought him to Moshe. Now his mother's name was Shelemoth, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. And they put him under guard, that it might be declared to them at the mouth of Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Bring the one who has cursed outside the camp, and all those who heard him shall lay their hands on his head, and all the congregation shall stone him. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, Anyone who curses his Elohim shall bear his sin. And he who blasphemes the name of Yahweh shall certainly be put to death, and all the congregation certainly stone him, the stranger as well as the native, when he blasphemes the name, he is put to death. Okay, cursing Yahweh, blaspheming the name of Yahweh. Any time that you use Yahweh's name in a derogatory fashion, okay? Now, I do not like the word GD. That really grates on me bad. It makes me cringe so bad when I hear people use that. But cursing is different than what we consider cursing. When you're cursing, in our society, it's using foul language. But in this society, cursing was using Yahweh's name to demean someone else, or as a swear, like they're swearing to someone in Yahweh's name. I swear to Yahweh, as Yahweh lives. Those are blaspheming Yahweh, okay? Do you see the difference there? Yeah, I know. That GD word grates on my nerves bad. But throughout the Bible, there are four-letter words that are different than our four-letter words. Like when Jeremiah is up to his armpits in the mire. What is the mire? Mire is a slang word for excrement. Yeah, he was up to his armpits in the excrement. Yeah, in the mire. So there are four-letter words in the Bible, but they're just different than our four-letter words. Think about it. In the renewed covenant, Yehoshua refers to the Pharisees as a den of vipers and hypocrites. Those are not exactly nice terms to be calling someone, but they fit. You see what I mean? Do you understand the difference there? Yeah, I know. But let's move on. Verse 17. And a man who strikes the being of any man shall certainly be put to death. And he who strikes a beast repays it body for body. So if you strike a man's being, which means you kill him, that's murder. He'll be put to death. And if you strike a beast and you kill it, you got to replace it. Verse 19. And when a man inflicts a blemish upon his neighbor, as he has done so, it is done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he inflicts a blemish upon him, so it is done to him. And he who strikes a beast repays it, and he who strikes a man to death is put to death. You are to have one right ruling for the stranger and for the native, for I am Yahweh, your Elohim. So if you are a sojourner, a Gentile in their midst, you follow the same laws as they do. See, we have to follow Torah if we are to sojourn with the Hebrews. Okay? I know so many Christian pastors will tell you that you don't have to worry about the Torah. You don't have to do the Torah. The Torah is the law. And that's what we're supposed to be following. If it wasn't for these Christian denominations doing bad things with Yah's word, twisting Yah's word, taking away from and adding to Yah's word, then we would know that we are supposed to be following the law, the Torah, because the Torah is Yah's word. Yah's word made flesh is Yehoshua. Yehoshua followed Torah perfectly, and so did all the apostles perfectly, even Paul, because he was a Pharisee among Pharisees. So he tried his best to follow Torah. So I don't see anything that has said, oh no, we don't need to follow Torah anymore. Better think about that. Verse 23, and Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and they brought the one who cursed outside the camp, and stoned him with stones. And the children of Israel did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Chapter 25. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall observe a Sabbath to Yahweh. Or again, we're supposed to be observing Sabbath. Sabbath is on Saturday. It wasn't until the Greeks and the Roman Catholic Church changed the calendar that it became Sun Worshipper Day, which is a pagan day anyway, because you ain't supposed to be worshiping the sun. Sabbath is on Saturday. Verse 3, 6 years you sow your field, and 6 years you prune your vineyard, and gather in its fruits. This is about the Jubilee, which we are also studying in our other study right now. But in the 7th year, the land is to have a Sabbath of rest, a Sabbath to Yahweh. Do not sow your field, and do not prune your vineyard. Okay, so if you're following our Jubilee study, you've already seen this, and we've already discussed this. Verse 5. Do not reap what grows of its own of your harvest, and do not gather the grapes of your unpruned vine, for it is a year of rest for the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be to you for food, for you and your servant, and for your female servant and your hired servant, and for the stranger who sojourns with you. So whatever grows up on its own, that's what you eat. You don't sow it, you don't do anything, you just let it grow, and whatever comes up, that's what you eat that year. Verse 7, and for your livestock, and the beasts that are in your land, all its crops are for food. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years, and the time of the 7th Sabbaths of years shall be to you 49 years. And then you add 1 day to that, and it's 50 years, and that is the Jubilee. Verse 9, you shall then sound a shofar sound on the 10th day of the 7th new moon, on Yom Kippur, cause a shofar to sound through all your land. And you shall set the 50th year apart, and proclaim release throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It is a Jubilee for you. And each of you shall return to his possessions, and each of you return to his clans. In the 50th year is a Jubilee. To you, do not sow, nor reap what grows of its own, nor gather from its unpruned vine. It is a Jubilee. It is set apart to you. Eat from the field its crop. In the year of this Jubilee, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor, or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you. According to the greater number of years, you increase its price, and according to the fewer number of years, you diminish its price, because he sells to you according to the number of the years of the crops. So what this is saying is, if you happen to sell a piece of land to somebody and you want it back, you can get it back on the Jubilee, okay? And you have to pay however much it was when you bought it, prorate it. Okay, I guess this is saying that you need to prorate the price of it according to when you bought it, when the last Jubilee was, and when this Jubilee was, how many years it was in between. And you prorate it, and you give the right amount of money according to the prorate, and you can get your land back, okay, if you want. This gives you an option, okay? Verse 17, and do not oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Yahweh, your Elohim, and you shall do my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them, and you shall dwell in the land in safety. So if you do Yahweh's laws, follow Torah, and you're fair with everybody, He's going to make sure that everything is safe and good for you and take care of you, provide for you. Okay? Verse 19, and the land shall yield its fruit, and you shall eat to satisfaction, and shall dwell there in safety. And since you might say, what do we eat in the 7th year, since we do not sow nor gather in our crops? Therefore I have commanded my blessing on you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth the crop for 3 years. So on the 6th year, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, Dad's going to show favor for you, and He's going to bless you with enough of your harvest on the 6th year to cover 3 years. So you're going to have plenty. Yahweh always provides. He always does. Verse 22, and you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat of the old crops until the 9th year. Eat of the old until its crop comes in. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine, for you are sojourners and settlers with me, with Yahweh. And provide for a redemption for the land in all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor, and he has sold some of his possession, and his redeemer, a close relatives, come to redeem it, then it shall be redeemed what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since its sale, and return the remainder to the man to whom he sold it. That is, that he shall return to his possession. See, he's going to prorate it on when he bought it and how much he paid for it and stuff like that, and accordingly then pay him back. Verse 28, and if his hand has not found enough to give back to him, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of Jubilee, the next one. And it shall be released in the Jubilee, and he shall return to his possession. So if you can't pick it up this Jubilee, then you got to wait until the next one, if you ain't got enough money. Verse 29, and when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. So if you live in a city and then you want to sell your house, you have an option to buy it back within that year. But after that year, can't buy it back after that. Verse 30, but if it is not redeemed within a complete year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it throughout his generations. It is not released in the Jubilee. The houses of villages, however, which have no wall around them, are reckoned as the field of the country. A right of redemption belongs to it, and they are released in the Jubilee. So if you live out in the boonies and you sell your house, then you can go ahead and buy it back on the Jubilee if you want. But if you're in a city, you got 1 year, and that's it. 32. As for the cities of the Levites, and the houses in the cities of their possession, the Levites have a right of redemption forever. Because, see, the Levites don't have an inheritance. Yahweh is the Levites' inheritance. So if they are living in a city and they sell their house, they can buy it back anytime, forever, on the Jubilee or in a year or whatever, because their possession, their inheritance is Yahweh. So Yahweh makes sure that they have got what they need. Verse 33, and that which is redeemed from the Levites, both the sale of a house and the city of his possession, shall be released in the year of Jubilee, because the house in the cities of the Levites are their possession in the midst of the children of Israel. But the field of the open land of their cities is not sold, for it is their everlasting possession. Like I said, they don't have an inheritance, so because Yahweh is their inheritance, so what they've got is what they've got. So they better have it forever. They can get it back whenever they need to. And when your brother becomes poor, and his hand has failed with you, then you shall strengthen him, and he shall live with you, like a stranger or a sojourner. So if your brother in Yahweh, or your sister in Yahweh, has a time where they are struggling and end up homeless, you're supposed to help them out. You're supposed to give them a place to stay until they get back on their feet. Okay? 36. Take no interest from him or profit, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. So you don't charge him anything. Okay? You don't take advantage of the situation. You just help him out. Let him live with you for a while. 37. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. So you don't take advantage of the situation. Don't say, yeah, I'll lend you a bunch of silver, but you're going to pay me a percentage on it. No. No, if you lend him some silver, he gives you back what he lent you. And for food, no. You just give him some food to eat. You don't have to make him pay for it. Verse 38, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim to give you the land of Canaan, to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave. Okay, so if he comes and sells himself to you, he's not a slave. He's not an indentured servant. He's a farmhand, a helper. Okay? Verse 40, but as a hired servant, as a settler, he is with you and serves you until the year of Jubilee. So he serves you until the Jubilee rolls around, and then he can go on his merry way. Verse 41, and then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, Yahweh's servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. They are not sold as slaves. The children of Israel are not sold as slaves. They belong to Yahweh. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim. And your male and female slaves, who you have from the nations that are around you, from them you buy male and female slaves. So you are to purchase slaves, indentured servants, from the nations, from the people that aren't Hebrews. You can buy them with your silver. And we can see as we have progressed through Genesis that Abraham had a whole bunch of servants that he had bought with his silver, as did Isaac and Jacob. They all did. So it wasn't an uncommon thing. No, slavery's not a good thing, especially along the lines of the slavery, the cruelty that happens during slavery. That is not okay. That is absolutely not okay. If somebody needs some help and you decide to employ them, it's different than being a slave. At that point, they're a hired hand. Okay, I don't really like slavery. I think slavery is a bad thing. But if you happen to purchase, employ, look at it the same way, I guess, someone, then I guess that you own them until you let them go, until you release them. But treat them nice. Don't treat them badly. Don't inflict punishment on them and torture them and beat them and do all kinds of nasty things. Alright, verse 45, and also from the sons of the strangers sojourning among you, the Gentiles, from them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they shall bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property. So, if you do pick up an indentured servant, then they're yours. But, slavery is such a bad thing. People are just so cruel. You can see sharecropping. You can see that. You can see if you have a big farm that you're going to need help on that farm. But I say cut them in to whatever it is that you're doing so that everybody is working together for a common goal instead of just having slaves. No, slaves, that's not cool. Verse 46, and you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Israel, you do not rule with harshness one over another. So I guess if they sell themselves to you, it's for life. If they're of the nations. If they sell themselves to you, it's for life. Verse 47, now when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, and he sells himself to the settler or the sojourner with you, or to a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him. So if one of his brothers comes up with the money, he can buy him back. Or his uncle, or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who is a close relative to him in his clan does redeem him, or if he is able, then he shall redeem himself. And so he can buy himself out of slavery. And he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years from the year that he was sold to him until the year of Jubilee. As the days of a hired servant, it is with him. So see, it goes along the same lines as if you hire him as a ranch hand. It goes along the same lines. They can buy themselves out of the slavery, out of being an indentured servant. 51. If there are yet many years according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left until the year of Jubilee, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays him the price of his redemption. So there again, it's prorated. The amount is prorated according to how many years. Verse 53, he is with him as a yearly hired servant, and he does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. So see, if it comes to Jubilee, then you got to release him. But before that, if you drop dead, then your kids get to take it over. It's an inheritance until Jubilee. Okay, see how all that works? 55, because the children of Israel are servants to me, to Yahweh. They are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Okay, and that's the end of chapter 25. Got a hair or something itching on my nose. Alright, gang, that gives us a pretty good idea of those two chapters. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put it down in the comments. Let's see what you got. If anybody has anything to add to this study, put it down in the comments. Let's see what you got. You know, let's do a little bit of conversing here back and forth. Seems like everybody's kind of shy. Nobody wants to strike up a conversation. So please feel free to. Don't be shy. Don't feel ashamed for watching these studies. Participate in them. Participate. We can all participate together. Nobody's going to call you any names or demean you or anything. It's an exchange of ideas. We have Yah's word here to prove whatever it is that we're going to be discussing. So don't be afraid to put it out there. It's alright. I understand. These are a little bit different. It's not your Christian type of a Bible study. But when you look into Christianity, what it really is, and how it came into existence, Christianity is a Greek word, Christos, okay? It's a Greek word. So the Hebrews were not Greek. They were conquered by Greek. And in turn, the Greeks were conquered by the Romans, who came in 70 AD and burned Jerusalem down. So you can see how the Greek influence and how the Roman influence has pushed aside the Hebrews, because most of these Bibles are based on Greco-Roman translations. And when you get into the translations, you realize a lot of things. A lot of things, because words have meanings. So when you get into the translations and you start to figure out that those Greek translations, they are not good translations. They really water down what is Hebrew, which is the basis of our belief. If you are a follower in Yehoshua, the first followers of Yehoshua were not called Christians. It was called the Way. Okay? They weren't called Christians. And when you see in 3 different places in the renewed covenant, in the New Testament, which is not a New Testament, it's a renewed covenant, when you see in those 3 places where it talks about Christians, those were put in there by the Catholic Church. Because when we get there and we start reading it in Hebrew, it talks about the Way. It doesn't talk about Christians. There's not one thing in here that says anything about Christians. It is the Way. When you start looking into Christianity, you realize that Christianity is a Roman religion that is loosely based on the children of Israel, the Hebrews, and it's all just nothing more than Greek philosophy. So be kind of careful with that word Christians. I know people are going to freak out and they're going to have gasping and having fainting spells and everything else because of the way we've been taught, indoctrinated. But even indoctrination is part of a Greek philosophy. There's some really good instructional videos out there that I have found recently that go way deep into that. And it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. That most of the Christian belief, 54,000 denominations, that I have always thought that it was the Catholic Church that corrupted the word of Yehoshua. But it wasn't. It was the Greeks who corrupted it into their philosophy, and then the Romans adopted it. Because if you notice in the structures and all the things of the Roman Empire and of Washington, D.C., it's of Greek influence. There's a lot of Greek influence to this day. Look at universities. Universities are indoctrination centers that are based on Greek philosophy. Look into it sometime. Look into it sometime. It's very, very interesting. But it's also enough to make you sick to your stomach, because all this time that we've all been thinking of ourselves as Christians, no, it's not. It's actually a very derogatory term towards Yahweh and towards Yehoshua. Okay? Look into it. I'm going to leave that dangle in front of you as a carrot, because I want you to look it up yourself. Okay? And I want you to find the truth on those things. Alright? Because it's very important. It's too easy just to go along to get along and not know the truth. But if you want the truth, then look it up. Okay? And I just dropped a link in right above my description box on my channel. Okay? That will take you there. Okay? It's called the Truth Unedited is the name of the channel. And if you're interested in this stuff, it's a deep dive. It's a really, really deep dive. But it sure does explain a lot. And by the time that you get done with the study that I'm telling you about, you are going to be like, wow. So, go ahead and look that up. It's called Truth Unedited. It's on YouTube, the channel is. And the guy is very thorough about what he talks about. Very, very thorough. Okay? So, I wouldn't give you the link if I didn't think that you'd benefit from it. But it has benefited me a lot. So, check it out, okay? Also, for anybody who's new to the channel, this channel is set up for playlists, okay? There's a playlist for Genesis, there's a playlist for Exodus, there's a playlist for the study in Leviticus, there's also playlists for all the extra canonicals and for a daily devotional, which depending on whatever day of the month it is, you do that devotional, you read that proverb, okay? So like the first day of the month, you read Proverbs 1. See, Proverbs 2 for the second day of the month, Proverbs 3 for the third day of the month, and so on. Okay? And if there's 31 days in the month, it works out perfectly because there's 31 Proverbs. Alright? So, just to give you an overview of this channel, because I don't want anybody being confused or jumping around or doing any of that. The best way to study the Bible is to start in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and move forward on it. And with the extra canonicals, just follow the extra canonicals according to what part of the Torah you're in. Okay, like Enoch, that would be from Genesis 6 on. Jubilees, it's going to be almost all of Genesis. Okay, and part of Exodus actually, because Jubilees is based on an angel talking to Moshe up on Mount Sinai and giving him the law step by step. Stupid flies. So, and then like I said about the Proverbs. So, that's how the channel's set up. Please feel free to look up whatever it is that you want to look up. And follow it. Study it. Listen to the videos or don't listen to the videos, but please study. Because it's for your benefit. Seeking our salvation. Okay? Yehoshua paved that road for us with his blood. They tortured and beat our Messiah and then hung him on a stake, on a staircase. And he died for us to bring us Gentiles into the tree of life and give us an opportunity to seek our salvation. Nothing is a guarantee. You must seek. Seek and you shall find. Ask and it shall be revealed. Alright, gang. I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you got something out of tonight's study, and I pray that you're learning and receiving knowledge and wisdom. That's what our goal is here, and to seek our salvation. So, y'all have a good night, and let's see here. We'll see you Thursday for our next study in Jubilees. Y'all have a good night. God bless. Shalom.